parasitic entanglements within the bloodline. This is for the generational curse breakers. This is for the karmic loop breakers, and wondering why you're getting the attacks that you're getting, why you're under attack. The bloodline is under attack because they want to know what's up with you, where you at. They want to know why you got my blood boiling like this. The blood is boiling because when you do your light work, the blood is boiling. And as I said earlier, thank you for the likes. Drop those hearts in there because it keeps everyone, it lets them find the channel. When we have that blood that's just boiling and boiling, because you're doing the work, you're breaking the curses, and they don't like that. You're loosening the grip of the parasitic entanglement. And when I say entanglement, y'all, I'm talking about an entanglement for years, right? You are the rising temples of your ancient ancestors. Your ancient ancestors, you are that, you are them. This is why they say we are the ancestors. So you're bringing that to light. And so what we've just come through, there's a lot that we've come through to bring this to sight, to insight. We've had Third Eye Atlas. We are now in our third eye season right now, as we just entered into spring, the new year, the equinox. We had Third Eye Atlas that has been really activating dormant codes within the earth, within us for the past 6 months. And as it closed out, it passed the last planet. It was updating our entire solar system. It was updating you. That's what you've been coming through, the trials and tribulations that you've been coming through. And so as it has been doing that, it has gone through all of our personal planets. It has came into a close encounter with Mars, Venus, Mercury. While it was having its perihelion with the sun, it came past Earth, and then its last close encounter was with Jupiter on its way out, which was closing this energetic seal that I had been talking about. If any of you have seen it, that was the energetic seal. That was the cosmic threshold as it closed out, and we entered into the new year, a new year like no other, a new season like no other, because now we've been updated. We've gained our spiritual maturation for the most part, right? For those who can receive it. And in this, we're able to see things a little bit more clearly, a little bit more differently. Mind you, while all this time, Jupiter had been in Cancer for the past year, since last summer when it just entered Cancer. So some of you have been feeling family activations, so to speak. Let's just call them family activations since summer of last year. You've been feeling things kicking up in the bloodline. You've been feeling the attacks in the bloodline, right? You've been feeling just revelations. A lot of you have been getting revelations that you never had before in your bloodline. Some hurtful, yes. Some of us have realized that our parents, our very parents and caretakers, have been a part of our demise, so to speak, a part of keeping us in the parasitic entanglement. Because you're only as strong as your weakest link. I will always stand by that and always say that. You're only as strong as your weakest link. So whatever their weakest link is, whatever they have not dealt with, it passes along. And they're gatekeepers of it. They keep these secrets. This is why I said secrets are not yours to keep. When you keep these secrets, it passes down the bloodline to the next one and the next one and the next one. So when your grandmother has her secrets, it's not just her secrets. It passes down to you. The unfinished business, the unhealed wounds that she never dealt with, that has still been in her pain body and within her blood, is still an open window. An open wound is an open window. This is what we got to understand. How do they get into our family like that? Because we have open wounds. And it opens the door, it opens the window for the parasitic energy to get in and consume. You are the host with the most. And this is why I remember doing videos about it and saying and asking the question. This was like a year or two ago, and I did a video talking about are you a viable host for the demonic entities and energies? Or are you I forgot the other word, but it's like, are you a hostile environment? There you go. And I'm a hostile environment because I'm always clearing out wounds. I'm always looking in the mirror to see what needs to be fixed, right? And this is why they say, sometimes they call me a pessimist. They say it's pessimistic. because you're always looking at what's wrong, right? And I always have to say this: if I know what's right about me, then I don't need to look at what's right. Now that becomes vain. Life is a mirror of you. Life is a reflection and a mirror of you. So everything that happens on the outside is simply a reflection. So when I look into life's reflection, I don't need to be vain. I don't need to be looking in the mirror going, oh, that's so beautiful. I'm not saying you can't do it. It's good to have confidence and know who you truly are and know that you are both, you're beautiful, your truth, beauty, and goodness all the way around. However, when it comes to doing this soul work and your soul unfolding journey, when you look in the mirror, you're supposed to be looking at what needs to be fixed, or else it's going to remain unfixed, unhinged, undealt with, an unhealed wound, which is an open window. We want to close windows to the demonic energies. We want to close windows to the parasitic energies. They have, remember, they have no power, least you give it. See? And the wind just picked up. I'm not lying. They have no power. Greetings, welcome in. They have no power, least you give it power. The omnipotence, omnipresence, all of that, that is you, the wonderful you, the divine you, the light that you call you. We're all stewards of the light. It's just that a lot of us are so lost. A lot of people, I shouldn't say us, but there's a lot of people that are lost in the sea of forgetfulness, that they get clouded by the dark, right? I don't know how many of y'all have seen that movie Soul, that little cartoon Soul. Like, that depicts it very well, because you are all light. But when you forget that you're the light, you are consumed by the darkness, and you become this little thing of light that is surrounded by the dark. And if you remember at the end, when he had to go in and get him, he had to go through all of this dark lostness to get to the center, to get in the middle of him, to find a little light curled up like this, because it's so surrounded by the darkness, and it walks around as this dark monster just roaming around. And that's what happens to a lot of people. They become dark monsters, and different layers. Some are very huge monsters. Some are really surrounded by a thick coat of dark. Some may just have thin layers of dark, right? There's many different levels, many different layers. And to the degree of the layer and levels determines the degree of how much parasitic entanglement and engagement is happening, and who's doing the bidding for these parasites. These are gatekeepers. Let me tell y'all, when I say it hurt to realize with my real eye, to realize and recognize that my own caretakers have been a part of my demise. My own caretakers have been a part of what was bringing me down through their own wounds, because they don't see themselves. They don't see their wounds. And so while you think they're taking care of you, they're protecting their wounds, and they're protecting the wounds in you. It's almost like you become a package, a special package for their wounds, and they need to take care of that, because guess what? If the wounds are exposed in you, then you expose them. Ooh, they don't like that. Let me say that again. If the wounds are exposed in you and by you and through you, then you expose them, because you are carrying, by default, you are carrying their wounds, especially motherhood wounds. This is why it's so important that in the family lines, ever since Jupiter has entered into Cancer, this is what I've been talking about: clear the family lines, have conversations with the women particularly, because the women carry the memories. The women, which represent the feminine energy, the qualities of the feminine energy are memory, intuition, but most important, memories. This is why when they're doing your DNA test, they're looking down the bloodline of your maternal lineage, because the mitochondria, which carries that information on and on and on, lifetime after lifetime, generation after generation, travels through the mitochondria. And that is how they find your bloodline, your ancestry. It's through the memory codes of the mitochondria, the memory codes of the maternal lineage. And so it is, why am I saying this? Because the way that the healing is going to be done, it's going to take right now a lot of feminine energy. It's going to take the remembering of the feminine energy. And for those of you who know the story of Aset, Asar, Aset, and Heru, that is what Aset does. That is what Aset represents. And this is a threefold in your consciousness. This is not just a story outside of yourself. Ashe, this is within your consciousness. Aset, Asar, and Heru represent the three parts of your consciousness: superconscious, conscious, and subconscious. The subconscious is the feminine aspect, the feminine qualities of intuition and memory. So when Asar was dismembered, meaning disconnected from his highness, from his wise awareness, this is the conscious phase of mind. When he was dismembered, Aset had to go and get the dismembered pieces, which means she had to remember his pieces. This is what we do in our consciousness. We remember the pieces of ourselves. We bring the memory back, right? Bringing those pieces back. Welcome in peace, love, and light. Send some heart so we can continue to get it going. So when we remember those pieces, then she becomes pregnant with Heru. That's your superconscious, right? Which represents the Christ consciousness. This is why it says no man enters through the kingdom but through me. Not because of a man, but because of the superconscious, because of the Christ consciousness. And it was only Heru that could defeat Set, which Set is the one who dismembered Asar. This is both two parts of their conscious phase of mind, two parts of the masculine energy. This is the wise ego and the misappropriated ego. The wise ego, which was Asar, was dismembered, was cut up by Set, because once Set takes over and we start Set tripping, and Set is Set tripping, I'm seeing 2 and I'm seeing a 4, because there's a split. 2 there is a split between the two. Within our conscious phase of mind, we become split in our mind. We become split in our identity, right? Because the ego represents the identity body, the solar plexus, your mental body. You become split in the mental. And your misappropriated ego, which is the part that keeps the wounds. It always wants to keep the wounds, because it's activated by you being the protector of these wounds. The ego's natural mechanism is to protect. And so the misappropriated ego comes in with its narrative, anything by any means necessary to protect. And that's when we start Set tripping. We're in our wounds. And when we're in our wounds, we have stories that keep us protected in these wounds. And this is the window, the unhealed wounds that becomes the window of the demon and the demonic entities and energies and these other complexities of the mind that are outside of your purpose. And then here comes the entanglement, and this happens through the entanglement. The parasitic entanglement can now keep you entangled within the bloodline by the what I call the demon dancing in the blood. So we got to look back and see how you've been getting along with particular members of the family. Some of them, if you notice, the ones that have fallen off right now, it's because you have been breaking things. You have been breaking generational curses. You've been moving away from those wounds, and you no longer share that wound with them. So now, and not only that, you boil their blood, because now while it's in the blood, and if you're fixing what you're fixing and they're not, it is going to agitate the parts of them that they are not fixing. Where once upon a time you were demon dancing with them, which means you were wound dancing with them, now you left them. Now they feel abandoned. Now they're agitated by you and your growth and your glow up. Your grow up and your glow up agitates them. Generational curse breakers, and you think you're doing them a favor. You think you're doing your family a favor, which in a way you are. We are the true golden ticket. We're clearing the clog. It's like the bloodline has been clogged with this menacing energy, this menacing entanglement, and we're clearing that. Ashe, we're clearing that. So now let me put this here, see if I can. Okay, there we go. I'm trying to set it so I can see what you're saying here. Any questions, any comments? Go ahead. Let's talk about this entanglement. That may be why they seek diamonds that much, the light and the dark. Right? What do you mean by that? They seek, did you say, do you mean demons or diamonds? That may be why they seek, because the light and the dark, they're always looking for the light. And if you're saying diamonds, yes, because we're like a diamond in the rough. We're those of us that are opening, breaking the curses and opening the pathways, clearing the bloodline. It's like we're pipe cleaners, right? That you stick in the bloodline, and we're like clearing out all this junk in the bloodline, and we're breaking it. For some of us, we're just clean straight breaking it, like no more. And we're like diamonds to them. They want that, right? And even though you're annoying them by your growth, they still need to siphon your light. That's why they want to come next to you. That's why they want to mimic you, right? It just occurred to me that having a threefold mind is the natural standard of human beings. Yes, everything comes in threes. This is why I talk about, and as you say that, I'm looking at three. Everything comes in three. All good things come in three is what I like to say. Or it's just a creative completion. This is why three is a creative completion. So the completion of us is a threefold being. We are spirit, soul, body. That's a threefold being. And within the soul is comprised of three parts: superconscious, conscious, and subconscious. So there's a threefold even within the conscious, right? And when we're in our Merkaba light, your Merkaba is your light spirit body. That's your light vehicle. So it's your light spirit body. The light is who you really are, right? And so while you're activating, while we're getting the revelations of what is happening recently, this is why I'm talking about it right now, because I'm seeing so much. I'm seeing attacks. I'm seeing exposures. I've gone through it myself in a way where it is like unbelievable. Like you can't believe this is what's happening. It's like, are you serious? This is what we're doing right now? Like the families are desperately, as I always say, desperate people do desperate things. Desperate energies do desperate things. And those that are attached to these unhealed wounds that they refuse to look at, to even begin to fix, they become an instrument. They become a tool. They become an instrument and a tool for that opposition energy. That is what they are being, right? Let me see. I just realized it got a little darker, so I need to turn down. It's bright light, bright light. Let me turn it down some. All right, so they are activated right now. Is those of you who have really crossed the threshold. I know I felt it, so I know other people are feeling it, where they're getting serious attack. And it comes in ways where you're being mimicked and mocked. They're coming beside you and sitting beside you and, smiling with you, but it's to kind of mimic and mock your energy. It's to siphon your light, because they feel your light leaving. And when they feel your presence, see, the wind just picked up. When you are reclaiming who you really are, for those of you who are truly remembering who you are, and you're clearing the bloodline, and you're taking back your energy, like they feel that. They can't siphon from you the way they used to siphon from you. And they feel that, and it agitates. And so they're in the family line is pretty much endangered. Like, it's like, I want to say endangered species. Like, y'all are endangered. But it's not what we're seeing. A lot of generational curse breakers right now, you're seeing that it's not your job. Peace and greetings, legacy. I was just going to say that you are the legacy, right? We're realizing that you're the prophecy, you're the legacy, and it's not your job. And now I'm seeing 333 right there, 333, triple creative completion. Understand your threefold. Know who you are, know your mission as a spirit, soul, body. And their bodies are being like, they're being snatched. We got snatched souls right now. Like, I'm looking at them and it's like they are so snatched, and in their snatchedness they're still boldly trying to snatch you, trying to take from you. What they say, the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. That's so real, so true. That's what they're doing. They want to destroy. They want to steal your energy, your time. Don't take any of this lightly. You may think, well, I just had a conversation with them, which is, what I've been doing with the family. Now I had to pull back on conversations, and I just had another one last night that's even questionable, but I did my part, because I really don't. I was like, I'm gonna meet with them, and now it's like, no, we don't need no more meetings. We don't need, because all they're doing is siphoning your light, your energy, your time, and you're pouring in your life force energy into dead limbs, and these limbs have to be severed. And as I'm saying this, I'm not saying cut off your family members, because we still have to have compassion for the collective and know how to integrate. This is the love frequency of the fifth dimension. 5D is not separation like what people think, even though we're seeing a lot of separation, because we have to come apart from the bull crap first in order to be in true integration, in order to integrate in a way where we don't become inundated or engulfed in the densities. So we have to separate from the densities first in order to come back and be able to integrate without being, a part of it. Like how they say, in the world, not of it. So when I say cut those dead limbs, I'm talking about cutting off the life force energy that you send to that limb. There's no life in that limb. Spirit has shown that to you, and it has been showing it to you. And now it's time to have accountability for those revelations. Saturn sextile Pluto. That's what that was yesterday. This is part of the live that I was supposed to talk about, last night. So I'm integrating that right now as we speaking about integration. Right? Yesterday was very powerful for being where Saturn, which is the planet of accountability, sextiles, which is a harmonic, degree connection with Pluto, which is about revelations, death to rebirth, transformations, and revelations. So what has been revealed to us in the past 3 to 6 months while we've been traveling along with Third Eye Atlas? What has been revealed to you while we've been updated, while we have been being activated and amplified by Third Eye Atlas, particularly and especially within your bloodline? What are the revelations that have come up? The things that have been happening, your trials and tribulations, they didn't happen to break you, although it happened to break you, to break you out of that prison, right? I'm hearing break yourself, fool. It happened so that you could break yourself from the fools, right? The foolishness within the bloodlines. Break yourself from the foolish thoughts that we even had about family. This was the harsh reality of recognizing and seeing how family is an illusion, just like money is an illusion, and time as we have known it is an illusion. Right? This is where we have been recognizing that the true currency is you. Your energy and your time is the true currency. Money is just a supplement of it. Money is just the symbolism or the representation. Physical fiat money is just a physical representation of the true currency, which is you, energy in motion. Your emotional body, your sacral chakra is your emotional body. It is energy in motion. Right? And this is what a lot of us have come to realize in this time of revelation. Death to rebirth, transformation means things were happening that we had to have a whole ego death experience about. Things had to fall away so we can recognize that this is not the truth. This is not a part of the love frequency. This was a part of the illusion. You have been broken out of the simulation of the demiurge. which is the opposition because of the rise of Sophia. The wisdom, the rising temples that are rising, that Sophia energy, the divine feminine energy, the counterpart of the Christos is Sophia. That Christ consciousness, or the Christos, is knowledge, is light. That's why he says, I am the light, I am the way. He's not talking about him, the person, he's talking about Christ consciousness. The Christ consciousness is the light and the way. It is the knowledge. It is your super conscious, which is immediately attached to spirit, right? As we mentioned, that threefold body, right? As we mentioned, that threefold being, meaning the bring it back to me, threefold being spirit, soul, body. And in that soul, the threefold: superconscious, conscious, and subconscious. And the superconscious is that part of you that is directly linked. It is a direct connection. It is spirit. That's when you tap in to that spiritual self, that spiritual essence of you. Ashe? Oh, well, keep banging your head against the wall. Maybe you knocked some sense into you. I don't know what you think this is. You don't have to stay here. You can always pass through. Right? That's the thing. That be them demonic energies right there. Thank you for the hearts. Thank you for the heart me. Hearts right back at you. Share the heart, share the like, share the live, so that more and more can tap in. Right? You're always going to have those like trolls like this, what they call them, that if this is not for you, what are you doing here? You're like a fly on the wall or a spy on the wall, right? And you're like the demonic energies anyway, a lost cause, a dead limb. So I wouldn't even waste my time putting life into a dead limb. Ashe? Let me see. I'm having difficulty seeing how in this energetic age, benevolence will be manifested in these institutions, including the family. Oh, it's going to be a hard time for sure, right? It's definitely going to be hard for benevolence to be manifested in these institutions. The institutions are a part of the parasitic entanglement. As I said earlier, like the parasitic energy that exists, the opposition energy, it needs us, humanity. Humanity is a host for those demonic energies to do the most. Humanity is a host for the parasites to do the most. They are parasites. They have to hinge and lock onto humanity. And so those human beings that have fears, that fear annihilation, they're in their egos. It's the misappropriated ego that fears annihilation. It fears ego death, because then you will no longer need that protection. You no longer need that narrative, that story. And the only way that they can exist is through the narcissistic system. We exist in the institutions in and of itself is narcissistic. It knows no benevolence. It is completely consumed. It is in an iniquitous state with the parasitic energy. And so are our families. And I'm saying this so we can really look deep and understand how it shows up in the families. Ashe? Rashad, welcome in. Thank you for being the #1 fan in the fan club. Love and likes and hearts. This is something that we're not seeing the angles that it's coming in at in the families. A lot of times we talk about these demonic energies, entities, and we think of it outside of ourselves. And we're not recognizing that it's sitting right in your bloodline. How many of you, if you're willing to look at it, can see that you have been raised by some of these demonic wounds? That these demonic wounds have been coddling you and pulling you into a particular mix, enabling you to be a part of this. Ashe? Let me see what it says here. It takes a lot, but we are creators, and if we can maintain and master not just peace, but serenity with our internal being, we can help energetically more than we think. Ashe, I'm for it. I would never say it's impossible. It is definitely possible. The more of us, and this is why I talk about facing those unhealed wounds, the more you do your part, the more you continue to unpack that bag for you, is the more you loosen the parasitic entanglement in the bloodline, because it cannot attach itself to you. You will not allow yourself to attach it, and then you cut it off right there, so that anything that comes from you, your children, your descendants, you're cutting it off for them as well. But this is also, and I should say, this is also according to the degree that they're willing to accept this, because they have choice too. And if they choose to be connected to the family members that are still engaged in the parasitic entanglements, then that is what they're going to align to. That is going to be their allegiance. And this is where we have to learn to love them and let them go. Right? It does show up in many ways, and that information is vital for awareness, but we have the power ultimately. Yes, we do. The more we grow, the more we all can. Ashe. And that is very true. This is why it's important that we do the work individually. It affects the collective by what you do individually. Yes, it's going to stir up those demonic entities and energies in those particular places in your bloodline. And yes, the bloodline is under attack, because the more that you're loosening the grip, the more that it shakes the parasitic energy, the parasitic entanglement, and it wants to keep the grip. So when you break it for you, it's like it's loosening. It's almost like it's taking the hold, and it's loosening the fingers, the grip off of those that are in the family line. It's loosening that grip off of them as well. Not to say, oh, wrong one, I'm tapping the wrong thing. Not to say of it, but it's in there, and they're attacking you without realizing how. Like they trust me, they got it for you. They despise you. They hate. It's like they want to love you, but they hate you. And I don't mean this personally. Let me be clear. I'm not saying this personally. Don't take it personal. Take the bitter with the sweet. It's not personal. And this is why when a lot of the work, when I do my workshops and things like that, I work on depersonalizing. Detach, depersonalize. It's not personal, although it is personal with you and to you, to the person of you. It is not personal. They are not consciously attacking you, but through their unhealed wounds and what they're not willing to look at, they don't realize that they are literally attacking you. And so you have to recognize it. We have to be the ones to recognize it and cut that and nip it in the bud. Again, cutting those dead wounds, those dead limbs. Stop pouring your life force energy into it, because they are siphoning. They do need your light. They're going to act like they don't need you. You're going to be the villain. Most of you already have been that. I know I have. For the past couple years, I've been the villain. You know, they're going to say things, all kind of things to you. You're the weirdo, you're the villain. And we got to be okay with being the villain and recognizing their heinous attacks. Recognize when they come amongst you what they're really doing, what it looks like, and to stop. You may have to, like, as I said before, stop giving them money. When I say stop engaging in a certain way, when they ask you for things and you know who these family members are, the ones with the most wounds, but they walk around like they're A-okay, especially the Christians. Like, I gave it to God. I'm not saying all Christians, but I gave it to God. I prayed. I'm over it. No, they're not. If they didn't process the emotion, if they did not process it, because there is something in the processing. This is how we're like computers. We got to process this information. And informations come through our sensations. That's why we are sentient beings. So when things are happening, this is why with all that's going on right now, our nervous system is calibrating. It has to calibrate all of this, because the nervous system is the messenger, is the medium between our bodies and our minds. It's the medium between the body and the divine. So it has to calibrate, right? And this is why, in order to help the nervous system, we have to do things to help stabilize the feelings, the nervous system. We have to ground. We have to drink a lot of water, get lots of rest, um, eat, watch what we eat, because foods are information. So what is the information that you're putting in your body that is blocking the light codes and the light penetration? There's all these things that we have to do to fortify our physical body, to even stabilize the energies and the information and the sensations. But when we stabilize it, we can extract the information that we're getting through the sensations. And that's why it's important to process the wounds. See, a lot of people think, why I got to deal with that? It's in the past. Why can't I just put it under a rug? When you put it under a rug, or when you put it under the blood, they claim to put it under the blood of Christ. You're not handling it. You're just dumping your ish on the blood of Christ, if that's how you look at it, right? Which is not respectful to the Christ consciousness either way. You're not truly having a relationship with Christ consciousness. You're dumping your stuff. And when you don't process it, let me bring it back to that. When you don't process it, you can't get the true information, right? We are as sentient, we got to feel stuff. So when we feel it, now we got to kind of sort it out, and we got to separate it. This goes over here, this goes over there. We got to take time with ourselves. I understand this hurts, but now I need to understand why it hurts. I need to break it down. And this is why I don't get when some people are like, why I gotta dig deep? Why you gotta be so deep? Why are you not this deep? Why are you so shallow? You know, and it's not to, they're not any less than, everybody's where they need to be. But if you're going to ask me why I'm so deep, I'm going to ask you why you so shallow. Why you don't get to know yourself. You could avoid a lot of the ish that you're going through in life by clearing your auric field, clearing your information field, by being a true steward of the light. And a true steward of the light is a true processor of the light. The zeros and ones, the binary code. The zeros and ones are masculine, feminine energy. It's asking for harmony of duality in your soul so that you can translate the codes. The way to access your superconscious is when you have a harmony of duality between what? The conscious and the subconscious mind. That's where we do all of our bidding. This is where we do all of our work in our consciousness. We don't do work in the super consciousness. The super conscious, which is Christ consciousness, which is spirit, is just like spirit. It just is. That's it. It simply is. There's nothing to do there but be. So where we do our work is in the conscious and subconscious mind. We do our work with Asar and Aset. And in doing the work, in balancing the harmony of duality, in balancing the two, we give birth, we give life to the third. We give life to Heru, the super conscious. When we balance the two, we give up. We give our submission, if you will. We submit in the conscious phase of mind to the super conscious. And that's why they say the woman submits, because it is due to the Aset, remembering the dismembered pieces of Asar, that exemplifies the submission. And that submission opens your access to the super conscious mind, where you can be super conscious, super Christ, where you can be that Heru. Ashe? And so I'm saying all this because I'm bringing it to how we can see within ourselves, like, why is it that important to process it, right? And when you process these emotions, now it's gone through the proper channels of process, and now you can extract the codes. Now these dormant codes that are unlocking in us, for those of you that have been doing the work, soul excavation, shadow work, those of you that have been taking the time to find the shadows in your soul, not hide them, not create a beautiful hiding place for them, but to extract them. Those of you that have been bringing it to the surface, bringing it from the depths of the subconscious mind and bringing it to the light of your consciousness, is the harmony that is needed. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Chosen girl is on the way. Hey, chosen girl. We missed you the other day. I think I saw you come in, but then we lost you when we had the transmission. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm definitely the villain in my family right now. Yep. Since I walked away from religion and no longer worshiping a God outside of myself. Yes, they will villainize you. You will be the villain because you are no longer attending to that outside God. Those of us who have been really updated and activated right now, we recognize the God within. We recognize that we are gods, just like it said in the book. Ye are gods. You are a part of the great order of divinity. And see, the parasitic energy, they don't like you waking up to that. That opposition energy that exists out there and gets its hooks in your bloodline. Believe me, there's parasitic entanglements in all of our bloodlines. And so you who are unlocking the dormant codes, you are really making it like in the bloodline. Like they're agitated with you. I don't care how much they smile with you. They do not like that the wounds that they can't look at or that they haven't looked at, that hasn't been addressed. They have a perfect hate for you in that part of their life, in that part of their mind. They have a perfect hate for you. I don't care how much they say they love you. Until they're willing to find those wounds and face them and deal with them, they will hate you. They will sabotage your light work. They will do anything to delay the process of the light. They can't stop the light, but they will do anything to delay that. And it shows up in many ways. And I'm saying this because I want us to understand what we're seeing, because I've been hearing, like, I've been even in other rooms where it's like, oh my God, this is so true, that we're seeing how they have been attacking us. Those of you who have been in things in the family that need to be exposed, like molestation, rape, things like that, and they villainize those who are speaking up about it, because how dare you put the family business out there. Or there are those in the family who have been protecting these monsters. And I'm not just talking about the heinous acts. I'm talking about the parasitic entanglement in that bloodline that is operating through that monster. And those secrets are more monstrous than the act itself. I want us to understand that. Those families who do nothing about it are keeping the secret going. Those families who do not help vindicate the person who's been exposing it, not that we need your vindication or validation, but when you don't do anything about it and you just stand on the sidelines and continue to help the gossip, or continue to say things like, I don't know why they're bringing this up, I don't know why they're talking, oh, it's in the past. Those are the ones who are keeping the secrets, and they are becoming gatekeepers. There's been a transition of gatekeepers just recently. I literally watched a gatekeeper initiation just take place. See, these are things that, oh, we finna go deep now. Now we finna get into it. Thank you, Spirit. Now we finna get into it. Thank you. I can't trust anyone in my family. You can't. But what I say, because we still have to find the balance and the love frequency, I trust people to be who they are. Because when we say, I don't trust you, and this kind of depending on how we saying it, we don't want to be in fear. We don't want to entertain the fear base. A lot of times we don't trust because we fear what they may do. And what we want to do is transmute that, if you can, alchemize that into, you know what? I trust you to be exactly who you are. This moves us from a place of expectation and into a place of acceptance. I'm going to accept you to be who you are. I trust you to be who you are. I believe DMX said it best in when he was on Drink Champs. I don't know how many of you saw that, but he was like, a rat, trust the snake to bite you. A snake is going to be a snake. A dog is going to be a dog. Trust it to do what it is instinctually going to do. These are people who are in fear. And what they say, scary people do scary things. Don't be mad at them. Don't hate them. They're being a part. They're a channel in life. They're allowing themselves to be a reflection. Get what you need to get out of it. Thank you for the lesson, and cut ties where you need to cut ties. Whether physically, energetically, cut those ties. Right? Ashe. Thank you for adding to that, though. Thank you. I appreciate that. Nobody can be trusted. Yep, I trust them to be who they are. Denial. Sound like my family. I come from a family of denials and avoidance. Heavy, like to a chronic degree. And they don't realize how bad it is. They think, oh, well, if I just, that's in the past. If I forgot, it's like, that's the whole point. You operate in a spirit of avoidance. Right? These be churchgoers that like to talk about the spirit of this. You operate in an iniquitous state. Let me say that. Right? For those whose families are in this parasitic entanglement, when the parasitic entanglement has got its grips and its tentacles in the family in a certain way, your family is riddled with being in an iniquitous state. And let's talk about that. Let me break that down for a little bit. Hold on. Let's talk about this, because we hear these things. I grew up hearing it. Oh, you're in iniquity, and when I start to really understand the word, I'm like, y'all use this like it's like y'all drinking Kool-Aid. And they understand it not. They don't realize that they themselves are in an iniquitous state. Because iniquity is in the depths of sin. And all sin is a misstep and a mistake. Sin is a misstep and a mistake. Right? It's the lightest form. You can fix a sin. I can mess up. I can make a mistake. I could fix a sin. And the cause of all sin is forgetfulness. This is why they say you're born in sin, because when we come through that universal womb, when we come from the universe and through the womb into this particular lifetime, we signed up to go through the veil of amnesia. We signed up to go through forgetfulness so that we can be a part of the remembering. Because the purpose of life is the remembering. It's for us to have a soul synapsis in our multidimensional soul self, for the pieces to come together and be like, zap, zap. I remember when we used to play shoot 'em up. Like, that's what the soul came to do. It's like, ooh, I remember. This is why we feel like that whenever we pass a particular timeline, when we quantum leap, when we push across a timeline, it's like, ooh, I remember. And it's nothing like the feeling of the remembering, because that is a part of the soul's purpose. It is a major part of the soul's purpose, is to remember. So we come through that veil of amnesia. We come through the sea of forgetfulness, right? The thing is to not get lost in the sea of forgetfulness, but that's what often happens with people. Ashe? Let me see what some of you are saying, and then I want to get back to that iniquity part. I want to break that down. Let me go back to Zay. Oh, hey, Zaya. My thing is all the other books in the Bible that people used to try to lead you to. Why Christianity is the only way. Why Christianity is the only way are only examples of the same guidelines you're talking about. You are a God, literally. Ashe. And that's what they want to do. This is why I say religion is a cap. And every religion wants to be the only way. Right? For example, the book of Enoch, etc. Exactly. The book of, we have all these other books, but the Bible has been what we call canonized. It's been, that means books have been accepted and books have been rejected. Right? And a lot of us by now, we know this. We get this. Right? And what I do is, like I say, when I read the Bible, when I reference the Bible, let me say it that way, because it's more like a reference for me for certain particular things. I'm not a Bible thumper, but I can reference it. I read it metaphysically, not literally, not to be taken literal, because it's coded. The scribes that were enslaved to put it together coded it. So if you want to find the truth, you're going to have to look through codes. You're going to have to learn how to translate the obvious, translate the literal into the meta literal, so to speak, looking beyond the literal. Ashe? So that's how I utilize it. Trust a billionaire to be a billionaire, right? That part, wonderfully stated. Ashe, thank you. We sign up to take on some type of parasite, so we have the experience of shedding the parasite. Part right there. It's for us to know that we sign up for it, by the way. Let me make sure I'm clear of that. As I'm talking about the parasites, we're not victims. By no means, we're not victims. We are spiritual beings that came here to have a human experience, and we chose every bit of the families that we are in. We chose the particular bloodlines to take on the task in order to transcend what we need to transcend in some ways. In some ways, we chose a particular bloodline to gain certain gifts that come through that bloodline, right? There are ancient and our ancient ancestry down way down the bloodline, down our ancient bloodline. Some of us were great, let's say, seers or great workers of the light in our ancient DNA. And so some of us chose particular bloodlines to access those gifts, to tap into it, to wake those dormant gifts up in us. It's like to grab the tools in our soul, right? It just so happens that in order to get to it, we got to get through all of this other messed up stuff in between, the clogged parts of the bloodline, which are more of the recent ancestors that have gone some traumatic things on this earthly plane. And so they are far removed from the ancient bloodline. They're far removed from accessing that. So we got to go through some ish. This is why we have to work so hard to break this stuff down. This is why those of us who have come ready for this. So we're not victims of it. When we really understand our multidimensional self, we realize we're not victims to these families. But in our human suit, we're recognizing who these families are. We're recognizing the parasitic entanglement in the family so that we can know what to do. Ashe, let me catch back some of the, because I know y'all was sending some messages here. Let me go back to it. My apologies. Thank you, Pedro, for following. Kat, hey Kat. Move on. Yep, move on a long time ago. Yep. Even where I live and trust them to be who they are. My government, I trust them to be who they are. Yep. Government as well. Trust them to be who they are and what they do. The government is a part of is the institution, and it governs your mentals. And we're talking about the parasitic entanglement also within humanity, right? So even don't just look at it as your family, look at how it is entangled in the government, the institution. All of these branches of the institution, all of these arms of the institution are a part of it, are a part of the parasitic energy. Best believe. Ashe? Thank you, Anthony. Thank you for following too. Let me make sure. Okay. Thank you for joining. Thank you for following. Right. Let me see what else we got here. I just saw a video stating exactly this. Which part? Which part? Remind me of that, what I just said. Ashe. And let me see, that our parents and even our grandparents shouldn't be idolized. Yes, because they grew up during very traumatized times. We got to go back a couple of generations to find the real truth of beings. Ashe, ashe. Right? I hear an echo. Oh, okay. It joined you. I don't know how it did that, because those of you who know me know I'm not technically inclined. I don't even know how it joined you in. But welcome in, Anthony. I see you there. Can you hear me? Let me know if you could hear me, because it looked like it joined you, and I don't know what I pressed, but it just added him into the mix. He gonna be co-hosting or something with us, right? with our closure, with our closer kinfolk, like parents and grandparents, we usually have to look through a lot of debris. Yes, it's like this is what's happening right now. A lot of debris, a lot of illusions to see the truth in them. This is what we're seeing right now because we've been going through, and we just came through the last 3 months was the great disillusion. We've had a lot of things being the illusions just coming out, peeling out of our pineal gland, because the third eye cuts through all illusions, right? Neptune represents the third eye, right? We just came through Neptune passing through Pisces, entering into Aries with Saturn. Saturn, the Lord of Karma, was in the house of karma. Pisces is the spiritual house. So when you close out Pisces, you're closing out karmic cycles. That's what just happened with a lot of us. That's why as we came through this energetic seal, it's like a, like some of us feel like, and some of us feel like, you know, some of us feel like we've been suctioned out of something. And some of us feel like we've been thrusted into something. Because a lot of things, a lot of debris, like we just peeled off those scales, a lot of illusions that have not just in this lifetime, but over multiple lifetimes from your past lives. Some of us have just filtered out past life traumas, past life illusions, traumas that have been attached to illusions, the intrusion of illusions in your soul, individually and collectively down the bloodline. So there's been this great disillusionment that happened on multiple levels. You, the individual soul, collectively within your family, collectively within humanity, collectively within the globe. A lot of things have just been broken apart from us. So we have been cutting through, we've been pulling out this debris within the family. And yes, like what you said, we have to question our parents and our grandparents. A lot of us are breaking free from traditions. A lot of us are recognizing that traditions have been holding you bound. The way we hold to traditions have been holding us bound to these particular energetic patterns. And a lot of times the gatekeepers use these. The wound holders, aka the gatekeepers in the family, hold you to this through under the name and through the scope of tradition. Humanity, or I should say society, uses the scope of tradition to keep you bound into doing things and repeating the same habits that have not worked for years, keeping you entangled in the web of lies, right? Like holidays. Ooh, we don't want to touch that one, right? Holidays. I know a lot of people like, and the holidays are built on traditions and giving you, a lot of us do it because to feed the nostalgic feeling that we've gotten when we were children. Again, carrying out for the parents, because your parents live vicariously through you, and then we start to do it to our children. To continue to relive this nostalgia. It's not just nostalgia. There's something in that we're reliving. The unhealed wounds, the demonic aspects are able to breathe life back into those unhealed wounds in order to keep you stagnant, in order to keep you attached to the parasitic energy, the entanglement in the bloodline, in the system. It keeps you locked in like that, right? And this is why we got to be able to look at the depths of this and what it looks like for you when your families are the ones, like, they're the ones that groomed you, your loved ones, your parents, and we go, oh, they did the best I could. As we recognize these things right now, we're going to have to change our perspectives and change how we talk about things. I'm not saying don't love your parents, but now is not the time to be helping the foolishness by saying, oh, giving them praises for what they did. Oh, I should give them, they should get flowers for what they did. No, I forgive them for what they did because they know not what they do, and they did the best they could with what they could. But I'm not going to praise something that I know was holding me in my blocks, something that was keeping me back from accessing that gift in your ancient bloodline that I was talking about. These parasitic energies, they know when you come into this realm, they know what you're coming to do. Those of you who are stewards of the light, light warriors, they know what you're coming to do, and you're a bigger threat. So they do everything through your surrounding people, your families, to keep you feeling less than, to keep you second guessing yourself, to keep you busy in protecting another family member, all of the above. They keep you busy so that you do not access that tool that you came here to get, so that you do not access your gifts, so you don't activate the dormant codes that are deeply encoded in your DNA, your spiritual blueprint. They don't want you to access that. And so, yes, your parents and your grandparents, they play the role of keeping you bound from that or blocked from that. They play the role. It's like they play double agent. They play the role of, oh, I'm here to protect you and love you, because that's what they believe at a conscious phase, as a conscious state of mind. Consciously, they feel like that's what they're doing. But unconsciously, and according to the attachments to them, because they can only be as strong as their weakest link, which is the wound, they're operating for that entanglement means more than you do. Ooh, did I hurt somebody? Did I pinch somebody? I know that hurts because it hurt me when I got it. That parasitic, their allegiance to the parasitic entanglement means more to them than you. And it's when we get those through our thick skulls, then we recognize what we're really dealing with, what we're really facing. Do you know how much it hurts to look at your parent and be like, damn, you really was trying to do me in. You was really trying to block me from accessing my light codes, from getting my gift, unlocking my gift. Some of your parents were supposed to be the ones that unlocked the gift, and they forfeited. They fell somewhere along the way, and now they're aligned with the demonic parasites and wounds within the family. Because sometimes the older they get, the more things happen, and the more older they get, the more they give up and give in to the wounds. Y'all ever seen like family members move? See, and the wind just picked up when I said that. Have y'all ever seen family members moving backwards? Like this is what I've been bearing witness to. The person who was once this breakout person that's not going along with the things of the family, all of a sudden reverted their ways and are now embedded into the family and clinging to the family wounds. Right? Let's call it the tree, right? Let's look at the family tree. I'm gonna call it the family tree. And so some of us don't realize that we're dealing with cankered trees. This is what I said when I had a sit-down family meeting a couple years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, and they took it very offensive, but it's the truth. The tree is now cankered because I recognize the wounds, the wound keepers on the tree, and I realized how, like moths to a flame, how other family members were just attracted to them, going to them, right? And I said, ooh, this tree is cankered. And I have to now take my branch off of this tree. For me to be breaking what I'm breaking, take the branch off and make sure you take it off for you and your descendants. And I remember making the statement and saying, I'm going to take the nutrients that I got, because everything is not all is bad, but there's a lot of bad, right? There's a lot of dysfunctions, but I'm going to take the nutrients, the self-sufficiency, the dare to be a rebel that I can now see in my grandmother. Like, yeah, you had some good things, I'm going to take that. But the wounds, y'all could keep that. And I can see that this tree is very cankered. And so what happens is the canker is spreading, right, from a particular branch. And those branches that are aligned with that branch the canker is spreading to them, which all that means is the parasitic entanglement can grip that branch and that branch. It's got a strong grip on the source of where the canker is coming from. But now, because others are aligned with that in particular ways, and it looks like many different ways, y'all. I don't know how to say it for everybody else, but what I can say is one of the things is it looks like the one who likes to host all the family functions, the wound keeper that likes to host all of the family functions, and like when everybody come to them, that is usually where the canker is. That's usually where there's a heavy energetic pattern, and where they are a strong gatekeeper. Let me put it that way. They're a strong gatekeeper for the bloodline, and everyone else is drawn to them like moths to a flame. They just go with the flow, right? It may be family members that no one puts them in their place. No one can say anything to them, and they have an excuse for everything that they do. Oh, the reason why I did this is for this. Look, when you're dealing with spirit, it doesn't care about your reasons. Okay? Like how they say excuses is like an asshole. Everybody got one. It doesn't care. That's your humaning reasoning. That is your misappropriated ego that is desperately needing to protect. So it spins a narrative, and now you have a reason, even if the reason is true. Right? Even if it's like, man, this did happen to me and I gotta be like this. Whoa, 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 whoa. The love frequency, the fifth dimension is saying, no, you don't. You don't gotta be like that. You chose to be like that out of fear of with the misappropriated ego. But when you remember who you are and you realize the purpose, your soul's purpose, you grab back your divine plan. You grab back that divine map of your divine plan. Then you don't need a reason. You don't have to do things that way. You stand in truth, regardless of the persecution that's coming up against you. Right? A lot of us are fighting the persecution spirit. A lot of us are fighting that persecution spirit because we've been persecuted lifetimes before. Ashe? Let me see what I'm missing here. Yep, saw that. We talked a lot of shit about the Jehovah Witnesses back in the day, yep. But in terms of holidays being pagan, they was definitely on point. Yes, they were. We really got to work on understanding others. Even if, and then I think something got cut off there, we chose not to do what they do. That's how love is formed and shared, and individuality can still be honored at the same time. That part. When you choose not to do what they do, that's how it's formed. You're in the love frequency. You chose differently, right? And you can honor that individuality. The family member who has always been financially stable. So the family members look over the flaw. That one, yes. See, now we talking. Y'all, let's throw them in there. Throw them in there. Throw those family members in there. Call them out so other people can recognize what it looked like, because I can only speak from my perspective of what mine looks like. It may look different from some of you. So what, say it so we can see, others can see. This is how it looks. It's that family member with the money because they like when everybody come to them as well. Right? Come back and look at them. They've made themselves self-proclaimed golden tickets. Those of us, remember when I said you have a golden ticket and a scapegoat. The scapegoat is usually the family fuck-ups, and the family members that are the gatekeepers are the ones who always rag on them as well. And that scapegoat is a scapegoat because something has happened to them, and that demonic energy was just dropped on them. They bear the weight. They carry the weight. The wounds have fallen on them very heavy, and they don't know their way out. And so they get labeled, and it's easy to deflect. It's easy for the scapegoats to deflect It's easy for the gatekeepers to deflect by using the scapegoats, because then they dump everything on them. These are the family members as well that are willing to talk about the other family members. Notice that there are some family members that they do all the talking. They talk about everybody's business. Y'all notice these ones, but they don't never talk about theirs. You don't know what's going on in their life. You got to hear it from somebody way out there somewhere, but they don't talk about them. They're always talking about everybody else because that is how they deflect. These are the ones that where the canker starts, the ones with the heavy wounds. They're the ones that start everything, right? I'm telling y'all, this is where it's at. This is how we find them, right? After gaining my conscious mind, I recognize that most mothers have their children to consume their energy, ashe, unknowingly, unconsciously, but they do. The women, they have their children to basically harvest their energy. Because remember, if they have unhealed wounds and using them, it's also using them to harvest the energy of their children. And I know this may be hurtful. A lot of people may find that hard to see. I'm not saying all mothers, but for those who really have these unhealed wounds, not processing them, by default, that's what they're going to end up doing, right? They pass it on to their children. They hide it in their children. And these are the mothers that can't course correct their children either, because they're hiding, their wounds are stashed in the children, and so they're protecting their children. So if anyone tries to correct their children, they're extra like, no, don't do this, don't. These are the times that we've come in. If y'all even notice lately of times, you can't correct people's children no more, right? Back in the day, in our parents' days and stuff like that, you could correct people's children. That's why they say it takes a village. The village could correct the child. Nowadays, this is how you know how much of a deficit that humanity has started to fall into, because, or I want to say, because we're still evolving, but as we're evolving and as more light is being poured in, the desperate energies get more desperate. And so they put these things out there, these notices out there energetically, where now it's like, don't correct my child. You know, the mothers get very funny, like, don't correct my child, don't correct it. No, they need to be corrected. Why are you protecting the correction, right? And when there's exposure of a monster in the family, like a predator, like a molester, like I said, I can only tell y'all, like in my case, then there's this run to protect the predator. The women, imagine this, as a woman, as a female who has went through that, right? The molestation, the rape. Then now another woman who knows, most women have been through that. I tell a lot of men this. Most women have been either raped or molested. Your mother, your grandmother, your aunts have been raped or molested. So now how is it that you protect this monster when it happens? And it's very simple. It's because they're protecting a wound. That monster became a monster because of a wound, and they're protecting the wound in this child. The mother that's protecting the son that is a predator. The wife that protects the predator. The daughter that protects the father being the predator, obviously, because she was taught something as well from her mother. These are all wounds. Like, I'm saying these facts, but they're not to be taken personal. I'm saying them because these are things that happen in the human experience, that are examples, that are representations of what is happening energetically. Because we can't see energy, but we can see you and me. We can see the human, and a lot of times we get caught on the human, we get stuck on the human, and we don't acknowledge the energy, and that's why the energy continues to proliferate. That's why the energy can continue to pass to the next and the next, because we don't address the energy. We address the person, and it stops right there, right? I just witnessed them sentencing a man to 50 years in prison for molesting, I guess, a bunch. It was brought up 25 years ago and they ignored it. And now he's finally sentenced. But what I'm witnessing is people going in and attacking and, oh, he deserves this. Which I'm not saying he shouldn't have his consequences, but what happens is people start to deflect. They start to point out, and they're not looking within. And so we get carried away with the projection and the deflection of what's happening on the outside, and it stops right there, right? We don't look at the energy. We don't address the energy and where it's coming from down the bloodline, down the pipeline of the bloodline. And then therefore we don't address it in ourselves. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining. Right? Thank you for the rose. Thank you for the rose, Rashad. I just saw it now. Right? So we don't look at what's happening when we say, oh, okay, they deserve it. And then it closes the book. That's it. That's that person on the outside. But we're not looking at what's happening on the inside and what's happening in us. Where does that energy show up in my family? Where is it that there is, and here's the flat line, bottom line. Where is the energetic cult in my family? Because there is an energetic cult. It may not look like that one, but that thing out there is happening for you to see that there is some kind of pattern here. There's something that we need to be looking at in the energy behind this. Right? It's very similar to even the whole R. Kelly thing, or everybody was down on this man, and I'm not saying again that he don't deserve his consequences, but after that, then where does everybody go? After their opinions and they're pointing the finger and you terrible this and that, are we looking at the energy behind it? Are we looking at how this comes from something in his bloodline? So there's family ties here. There's issues in the bloodline. And if we can see it in the bloodline out on the outside, then we can see it on the bloodline on the inside. Now, where is your family cult? Where is your family pattern? Because that is the parasitic entanglement. That is how it keeps the glue. The energetic cult is how it keeps the glue. The gatekeeper is the keeper who keeps it glued. And this is why they do what they do in the family. They need to keep you coming to them for stuff. And when you don't come to them, they start coming to you for certain things. Don't be fooled. Know them by their fruits. Don't be fooled when they start coming around you. Because I'm telling you, I literally felt that close encounter attack recently. Coming through the energetic seal with Third Eye Atlas, when everything was amping up with Mercury in retrograde in Pisces. Right? And Pisces being in a trine to Cancer. So Jupiter was very active. Jupiter being the expanded wisdom in the families. This is why a lot of us were seeing like family hiccups and stuff happening with the disillusionment and everything. It was really helping us to expand our wisdom, because wisdom is gained through experience. So according to the experiences that we had been having pretty recently, right? What are the trials and tribulations? What are the things that have been coming up? And you may have been thinking, well, damn, why is this coming up right now? Because spirit needs you to look at it. It needs to be disillusioned. It needs you to see them for who they really are, to break that illusion of family. Right? As I've been saying, family are the co-workers. They are the co-workers in life. Discussing family dynamics and how trauma can be passed down. Yes, share your thoughts. Share your thoughts on how family can be passed down. How family trauma can be passed down, because that's what's happening. My apologies. I dropped the other live, but y'all still here ticking and talking with us. Right? And so There are some people that have really recently gone through great grief and loss of feeling this fall away from you. Sometimes gaining this insight brings a sense of loss because you now have lost a picture that you had of your family in a particular way. It's out of frame. You lost that picture frame, right? So there's a sense of loss, and wherever there's a sense of loss, there's some grief to go through in facing that, right? And we have families that have been, like I said, the spirit of avoidance, the spirit of denial. This is something that I particularly have experienced, and it's very lethal to them, and they know it not, right? Avoiding the obvious, not having accountability. The things that you bring up, they think that it's to tear them down, but it is to bring accountability, because accountability is the way that you transcend. It's not because we need an apology. It's not because we're looking for acceptance and validation. They have it twisted. It is for them. They don't even realize that you are the one that is being able to give them a leg to stand on. You're helping to bridge them if they choose to take your hand. But if not, we got to accept that and say, no, don't beat a dead horse. Cut that dead limb. Because they're not able to withstand that, right? And as I was saying, let me kind of bring it back to iniquity. I did stray from that. There are three things that we should look at when it comes to iniquity. Like I was starting with sin, there's transgression, and there's iniquity. Sin is a simpler thing to get out of. When we sin and we make a mistake, okay, boom, I forgot, let me remember. Since forgetfulness is the main thing to sinning, let me remember. And every time you remember, you untangle that sin. You get out of that sin by simply remembering. Now, transgression is when you keep on sinning. You made the mistake, but you keep making it. You keep making it. You keep making it with no accountability. This is what Saturn is: accountability, the ability to account for what is held in the energetic account. So when you don't have accountability and you keep making that mistake, you keep misstepping and misstepping, it becomes a transgression. Now when it's in the state of transgression, it's a little bit harder to get out of. This is what has happened to any of us, if it has happened, and to our family members that are lost in this iniquitous state. They get lost in transgression because when they don't have accountability and they can't admit to the wrongs that they've done, and they just want to gloss over it, or they just want to throw money at it, whatever the case may be, it becomes a transgression. Now it is harder, and as they're in transgression, they're signing up to be gatekeepers. They're signing up for the energetic cult. That's how we got to start seeing it. Once it's in transgression, you've now signed up to be a part of the energetic cult. You're in initiation stage, right? Now when you keep transgressing, when you transgression after transgression after transgression, it becomes iniquitous. Now you are in an iniquitous state, right? And so a lot of us are coming from families that are riddled in iniquity, and they don't know it. They think because they go to church every Sunday and blah 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 that they're not in it. Well, how about the fact that you are in church is riddled in iniquity, right? I'm not trying to knock anybody for how they want to be, where they want to be, who they want to be. I'm simply being truthful. Because if we look at where religion comes from, religion comes out of the age, I want to say around the age of the ram, right? About 4,000 years ago, when the patriarchal rule was taken over and wanting to do away with the divine feminine. And so religion becomes this tool of control. I'm not saying there was never a God. God was always here, always was, the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. It's always been here. We did not need religion, but religion took a toll. Religion was a step in the parasitic entanglement of society to put a control a type of control on the people to hold them in a grip. And so there are stories that have come about through religion. Religion is very capped. There are incoherent stories that they've pieced together. There are doctrines and dogmas that are used to keep you enslaved in the mind so that you don't look into yourselves as being gods within time. Ashe? So when we're caught in religion like that, you're already in a prison. You're already in a prison. These are the times to break out of that prison. We have a prison break right now. That's kind of what I see happening energetically. It's like there's been a prison break. All of the soul people, all of the light workers, light warriors, the generational curse breakers, we had a prison break. We broke it. But they're still sitting there like, I don't want to leave the prison. We have a big break where we could be free. We could be liberated. But they're so bound by the religion. They choose to stay there even though the gates have flung wide open. So the mere fact that they get up, and this is how I look at them now, there's nothing you can do for me while being trapped in a religion. If you have not found the God in you, there's nothing that you can do for me. And it tells me that you're a part of the parasitic entanglement of society. And you're also more likely a gatekeeper for the parasitic entanglement in the bloodline, in your bloodline. You can't steer me out. Right? So these grandparents, they're not eldering. The elders are not eldering in the bloodline. And one of the things that I realized that I had to see recently and really own is like, I'm the elder. I am the one that is walking with spiritual authority. You all, the generational curse breakers, you are the one that is walking with spiritual domain and spiritual authority. You are the new elder in your family. We cannot look to our parents and grandparents as elders. They are now, the roles have been flipped. This is the spiritual responsibility now. This is the spiritual maturation that you are now seeing. You are the elder. Just like the trees are the elders of earth. Our trees, the 2D consciousness, are the elders. They have the wisdom. This is why when you ground, it's wise to sit next to a tree. Breathe in. Take in the essence of the tree, because that essence is spirit. That essence, the elements, the wind, all of that is spirit. And when you become one with them, you are signing up for the alignment to be an elder, right? You're being initiated into being an elder. And an elder is the one who carries the wisdom. The elders are the wisdom carriers. The elders are not just age. You can get older, that doesn't mean you're an elder. We got a lot of olders in our families. We don't have elders. And so now it's being rewritten. The true elders are being put in position. Just like the gatekeepers are being put in position. That's what we would thank you, Spirit, for bringing me back to that. That's where I was saying, let's get into it. Share the hearts. Thank you for coming in. Tap in, share the hearts, share your comments as well. If this feels good, absolutely. Ashe, chosen girl, you see it. We see it. Right? You didn't deserve that, brother. I hold you in love for your vulnerability. Maybe love fill that void. Yep. Maybe, oh, not maybe, sorry. May love fill that void. That act, is it act? I think it says that act, void that act placed on you, and you be free from it. Ashe. May love fill that void. And that's what we got to do. Speak love and light into the family. When we see things, speak love and light, even if they don't know it for themselves. I see your wound, and I send love and light into that wound. Ooh, them demons don't like that. I'm telling you right now, when y'all do that, for those stubborn family members, they're going to feel like you threw salt in their wound. They going to start squirming and all of a sudden wake up with your name. They going to wake up and be like, because the energy knows where it comes from. They may not consciously know, but the energy knows, and they're going to start to, in their agitation, start to sabotage you more, start to hate you even more, because you have been blessing that wound. You've been saying, hey, I see that wound. I see you for who you are. I accept you under the love that lights the truth. Let you study war no more, because it's a war within their spirit. Send that energy to them. Let you study war no more. Right? Because this is deep, 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 deep entanglements. And we got to be able to recognize it when we see it. Because they see you. They see you coming a mile away. Thank you, Spirit. It brought it back to me again. So let me talk about this part of it. The gatekeepers, when I said the gatekeepers are shift changing right now, they are holding stage shows. They're holding stage shows. And when I say stage shows, I mean like birthday parties. Yeah, y'all look out for that. Birthday parties and weddings, and yes, even funerals. These are stage shows. They will use like candle lights for the person who passed away. These are stage shows for something that's being passed on, especially if the person that passed was a gatekeeper, right? There's someone that has to pick up that key now. And so these stage shows, and listen to this very carefully, very keenly. This may rub some people the wrong way, but I'm telling it like it is. When you go to certain family functions, they're going to be demonic stage shows. And what is happening that I recently just witnessed was a initiation that took place, right? There was, hi Infinity, is that Infinity? Peace, love, and light, welcome in. There is an initiation. Thank you for my heart meat. There's an initiation that's taking place. Oh, and my roses, thank you. With the stage show. And so what happened was, and you got to see which family member is throwing this stage show, right? Remember I said earlier about the cankered tree limb, the one who has the most wounds. Thank you for the hearts. Ooh, I got some different kind of hearts. Let me see that heart. Let me see that heart right there. Hearts upon hearts. Ashe, thank you. Let me throw some hearts right back at you. From my heart to yours. And so these demonic stage shows are the person, okay, let me go back to this. The person who throws the party. Be careful of who that person is. We got to look. I had to look at all of that as I was driving. I wasn't going to go even. When I saw what it was, I was like, I don't even think I need to be there. Right? The person, it was a children's birthday party. And I was actually willing to take mine. You know, this is like a cousin, right? Willing to take my children there. Let's go. But then we had a little family meet the night before. And this particular cousin that invited me, it was like, I could see where you are. I was like, thank you for showing me who you are, because I was genuinely going to check up on them. And it was like, nah, I don't want to meet with you no more. Now I see the demon kicking up in her, right? It feels the light that I'm coming with, and it doesn't want no parts. Okay, I can respect that. So thank you for showing me where you are, and that means I'm going to stay over here, because that means you have no intention of coming out of what you're coming out of. That shows that energetically you're choosing to double down in the energetic pattern, and you are definitely attached to the parasitic energy. So there's nothing I could do for you right there, right? So I back out, and what happens is the members that come, there's this scene And this is coming from that branch that I said was very, very cankered, that holds the wounds. And it is from her parent actually that holds the heaviest wound, and was passed down to the next generation. And so this cousin that's carrying the wound is the one who's throwing the birthday party for the child. So now, and all of their siblings are there coming from afar and everything. So as I'm driving, when I saw, it was like, okay, thank you for showing me who you really are. Let me not be there. I see that you're doubling down. Um, I see the parasitic entanglement. So there were words exchanged, like, you should be there because I was there for your this and that. And I was like, you know what? I don't like getting children involved in adult politics. And I really love, the little girl. So I was like, let me just come and at least drop off a gift and just hug her, tell her I love her, and let her know that I can't stay. So, and I prep my children, like, look, we gonna go there. I'm gonna let y'all hand her the gift. I let them pick out the gift, but we gonna leave. And I had to really explain it to them. I'm like, look, this is a spiritual warfare. Good thing my children, I teach them so they know. I said, look, this is a spiritual warfare. It's on right now. So we need to be on our spiritual game. This is not just about playing. I could take you somewhere else to play. And I had to make arrangements with them about that. But we came there, let them give them the gift, drop that off. And as I was on my way there, this is why I'm saying this to you now, right? As I'm on my way there, I'm seeing, oh snap, this is the cankered tree limb. This is that whole family. And they're all coming in from like hours away. Everybody's flying in. I'm like, this is a demonic stage show. And I was just saying before that there's going to be an energetic exchange, right? I was just saying before that there's going to be an energetic, what do you call it? Initiation. And so as I'm there, I see the initiation. I see the parent, the mother, and the mother is acting like she don't know what's going on, calling out to me when she know that there's something very much there with me. And I see that what was happening is she, being the main gatekeeper, has now passed it on to her daughter, the cousin that invited me, that chose not to meet with me, that chose to back out and double down. So that whole thing, and this is on the strength of the little girl's birthday. So they will use children, right? I'm being very clear with y'all. They will use children as like sacrificial investments, if you will. They're sacrificing the children, and that doubling down further pulls that child into their entanglement. Mind you, Spirit has already been showing me that this child is supposed to be the light for the next generation, right? So that next generation that is after our generation, like my children, that next generation, for their side, that particular child is supposed to be the light and help them out. But instead, that child is now been put under a sacrifice, so to speak. It's been put on her head. So she has to fight even harder in the future to get out of this entanglement. They just made it like, what I saw when I saw that it's like I saw bricks like that just dropping down on her. They just dropped them bricks on her, like made it heavier. So now that child, it's going to be harder for that child to be the light. Like they're just making it harder and harder for that particular branch to get out of it. And so that stage show was a demonic shift change, is what I call it, to keep the energetic cult going. The gatekeepers are shifting. I literally said this right before this event. The gatekeepers are shifting, and you're going to see the shift. I didn't even know it was going to happen that quick, right in front of my eyes. And I'm seeing it, and I'm on my way. Then I'm like, oh my God, this is such a demonic event. And the kids and everybody are running around, and I'm seeing the kids who have the heavy weight of their parents. Like there were like 2 kids in particular that I looked at, and all I could do is shake my head. I'm talking about children within the family. And all I could do was shake my head like, oh my gosh. I could just see the darkness around that child. Because their parent is a scapegoat. Their particular parent is like one of the fuck-ups, so to speak. Because of the way the unhealed wound dropped on that particular parent. it weighs heavy on them, and then they're like the mess up. And so that has spiraled down to them, to the child, and the children are now like cloaked in this darkness. So it does pass down to the children. And a lot of people are not recognizing that, and it's happening even faster and faster. The energetic entanglement is looking for the children. So those of us who have made the break, who have cut the link, make the break in the link, right? We've loosened the grip, as I've been saying, but now those energies are trying to find their way swiftly to the children, because you've broken the link for everyone that comes after you. You've loosened it, right? You broke it for you and your descendants. Remember, it's according to how those descendants choose to align, because they can attach right back. And you've loosened the grip for other cousins, let's say, other family members that are born after you, because the ones before you, they're just not under that umbrella. They don't come after you in the link. So anyone that has come after you in the link, you've loosened the grip for them. But the energetic entanglement, the parasitic entanglement, is still very much attached according to their level of engagement with said energetic defaults and dysfunctions, right? So if it's avoidance, if it's denials, whatever it is for you and your family, whatever their level of engagement with, that's to the degree that they're held in it. And we have to start looking at it like that. And nobody is safe from this. No man is exempt. So when we go to birthday parties and things like that, I'm telling y'all this because I had to see it for myself. You got to go with what they say, the full armor of God. You got to armor up. You have to realize you have just stepped into an active spiritual battle. This energetic entanglement is a spiritual warfare that is constantly always happening. And they move through the families. I had a tingle in the back of my head. Somebody here is experiencing that. Somebody here is feeling that. They move through the families to block you from ancestral awakenings. Okay, that's what I'm getting. There's some ancestors that are upset. I wouldn't say upset like they mad at you, but it's like the ancestors want to be heard. The ancestors are the activations in your bloodline. It's not just people that passed before you. They're the activations in your bloodline. And they're wanting to support you and reach out to you. But a lot of these parasitic entanglements are causing cloudiness, blockage, that they can't come through in that particular way. And it's also, it's like a two-way block, what I'm seeing. It's also blocking you, the generational curse breakers that are breaking it. You're also helping your ancestral, that ancestor that passed on. You're helping free them from the bondage that they were in, that they didn't get to transcend before they transitioned. And so when you help them, you're helping that in the future of where they may now be reincarnated. I know that sounds very convoluted, but it is what it is. And so there's a two-way blockage. Like there's this block from you being able to get your true pure energy. The breaks that you're doing, it's like making it hard to connect to them, to get to them, for them to receive it clearly. They receiving it, but it's kind of a little blockage there with these other family nuances happening in the bloodline, right? And those blocks are also blocking those ancestors from getting to information to you, which is codes and stuff that are being unlocked in you. It's a two-way street in the bloodline, right? So there's things happening in the bloodline that the entanglement blocks, that it wants to intercept. These parasites want to intercept. Remember, the parasites need hosts, and you are offering them. Not you, meaning you, those here, the chosen ones, not the chosen ones, but those who are not breaking away from those unhealed wounds. They're allowing themselves to be available vessels. They're allowing themselves to be perfect hosts for this entanglement. and they're being used to get at you in the many ways that they can, by any means necessary, anything to slow you down and distract you. So you got to recognize that. So be mindful of when you're going to demonic stage shows, like parties, right? All parties pretty much are demonic stage shows, just to let you know. But the ones that are held with family, by family members and within families, it's literally a set up stage that is an initiation of some sort. It's initiating, and it's a demon shift change, and it's initiating another demonic entity, another unhealed wound, aka gatekeeper in the family. It's boosting them up, right? And we gotta, I'll definitely talk about it some more. It's something that we definitely gotta look into some more to see many ways that it may happen. I don't know if any of you have bared witness to it. You know, how many of you have seen this? If you get what I'm talking about, how many of you have been to a demonic setup, or as what I would call a demonic stage show within the family? Have you witnessed the initiation or the demonic shift change? Like, I literally have witnessed this twice, particularly. Once at this birthday party that I'm telling y'all about, and another time when I went to a memorial of some sort, a person who had transitioned. And it was so weird because the only reason I went is because the person who transitioned was kind of beckoning me to go to this event, that she wanted me to be there for her children. And I didn't quite know why until I was there, you know, in the midst of it. First of all, I could feel the ickiness when I got there. And then as I stayed there, you know, as a support, I stayed there, hugged the children, you know, just kind of stayed close by. And while sitting there, I realized there's a whole demonic shift change happening. There's a fight. Ooh, if only y'all knew. Sometimes there are people that enter you guys' family, our families, to attach another type of tentacle, another type of parasitic engagement in the family, right? And it happens a lot with, I'm not saying all men, but men like molesters in the family. That was happened, you know, with mines. It was a particular, you know, person who married into the family, things like that. Like, it may be a boyfriend, girlfriend, or through marriage. They come into the family and they attach themselves to these families through the family wounds. And so because of this family wound, and I saw clearly what it was, they had a thing, like their energetic pattern was like women who get abused by men. And so the men in the family, this was a more matriarchal, a more feminine matriarchal type family. So the men that come into the family are through marriage or as a boyfriend. And so they would come in and attach themselves to a feminine vessel that they can abuse and then still stay there, because for some reason it was okay. Like, they would coddle, the women in the family will coddle these abusers, keep the abusers, and even tell the younger women that, oh, you know, they're the, keep them because it's the father of your children, don't break up the family, like things like this. They are the ones who help keep this demonic pattern, this energetic pattern going. And so I witnessed this when I went there. It was happening already to the sister of the deceased one. That her partner was already a heavy demon, and he was definitely working it in during the whole funeral, everything. He was working his presence as being that, taking his next ranking up. And what happened was, at this particular event that I went to, that was supposed to be honoring the deceased, the children, her children that were there, this was done. This is why I say look at who's hosting it. It was done at the children's father's family house. So the children's father was putting it on, and he too was abusive to that person before they had passed. So what had happened was, while he was there and making sure he had this at his, it was staged at his place, his family's place, they are now having a demonic shift change into who's going to have precedence over this family. So where this other man was once the head demon, so to speak, this one was now upping his leverage. Mind you, let me mention this. At the funeral, at the, what do they call it? The Passover, the repast after the funeral, they had a fight. The two of them, I already saw it happening right then and there. I knew what was happening energetically. There's a demonic warfare that's happening there. They want to, leverage. He want to up his ranks. So now at this event, he's having it at his people's place, and he invited the other one because he needed to bear witness. And there are certain people that were there that need to bear witness to it, right? Matter of fact, I think he actually sent me an invite, right? The children's father. But that's not why I went. I wasn't gonna go. It was the actual person that had passed that had came to me, like, and emphasized going, right? Anyhow, so I witnessed this demonic exchange, because what happened as the night went on and people got more intoxicated, then that usually is an excuse for an outbreak of some sort. By the end of the night, there became this this explosion, this fight. And of course, it entailed him now staking his ranks demonically over the family, because it affected the whole family. The children, the sister that I'm talking about, they actually were the ones that kicked off. So I say all this just to show you how there can be a demonic exchange and showcase, if you will, right? It's so many ways that this happens. I wish I could break down, like, the illustrated so many times. I feel like we're just going to have to discuss this some more. There has to be more discussions about these parasitic entanglements and the energetic wounds, so to speak, the energetic cults that the gatekeepers keep. So these exchanges, this was another demonic exchange to say, I'm going to now have domain over this family. I got my tentacles in this family through this type of energy. So we have to be able to witness when we are at certain places, to fortify yourself, to decide even if you should be there. And if you're not a light warrior like that, then most likely you shouldn't be there. I know I get called into certain places for a reason, because of the light, the potency of my light and the light that I walk with, and because of the things that I can see, and I can see it right there and send certain information, send certain vibrations back, right? Especially, being a Reiki master, and not only just that, I'm an energy alchemist, so I can recognize things and see how to transmute certain energies. If you're not that strong in it, I would suggest not even engaging. Don't fool yourself into thinking, well, I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna make sure it has to be without ego. It has to be with humility and willing to go and bear witness to something, to know what it is to do, to wait for the instructions on what to do, not to go there with a predisposition of, I'm gonna be this big bad wolf, and because that engages the ego. So we have to be able to pay attention to how these things are showing up. Let me see what you're saying. Amazing insight, Younger. Yeah, thanks for the heads up. You are on point, right? Thank you. Next time. I guess I'll see you next lifetime. It says next time, and then it says Todd. So, okay, the name is Todd. I'm saying next time. Y'all know me. I got to catch up to this, right? Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Peace, love, and light. Oh, Nick said, ask me if I care, right? That's how we got to have that kind of, like, insight. Like, do I care? Yes, we want to clear. Let me go back to seeing what it says here. Every child that a woman birth is a sacrifice, and the child is a reward. The degree to which mother carries the wounds is the degree to which the child is a sacrifice and a reward to the wound agent. Ashe, Ashe. That part right there. So it's to the degree that the mother carries the wounds, and it's to the degree that the child embodies the wound and how much the child takes on the wound, right? We want to clear as much shit out as we can for our children and their children and their children and so on forth. That is true generational wealth. That part right there. That's the true generational wealth. You want to clear out as much as you can. It's not about what we pass down monetarily. The true generational wealth is how much of the parasitic entanglement have you snatched your generation out of? How much of the energetic cult have you broken? How much of that have you taken yourself away from for the sake of your children? This is not about family ties like we think, like, oh, I got to do this because my children got to know my. No, they don't. In this day and age, I'm at the point where my children do not need to know the family. Not like that. You could know the names. I could write a whole family tree out for you and tell you who is who. You do not need to engage because children are very susceptible. And if they're not ready, if they're not squared up yet, if you don't have them prepared of how to be in a spiritual warfare, because the warfare is real and they are after the children. They go after the children because they're unsuspecting. If the children are not prepared, you don't want to put your children in that mix. I'm telling you, these are the times where you do not want to leave your children with certain family members. I would never leave my child. At this point, my children do not stay with any of my family members. I don't care how bad I need it. I will find some other way, take them with me, or don't go at all. I do not leave my children with family members because they don't have the covenant. And not only do they not have the covenant, but they are demonically pouncing on the children. They are wanting to share their wounds. They want to get the parasitic entanglement wants to utilize these family members to snatch, to reach in, to entangle in your children. And best believe when you send your children to their houses, when you get them back, you're going to have to detoxify your children. Let me say that again. You are going to have to detoxify your child or your children. I know some of y'all see the difference, right? I know some of y'all see the difference. Some of y'all send y'all children to the grandparents' house, to an auntie, uncle, whatever, cousin, and they come back and it's like, oh, damn. You know, what is it that I need to do? Oh, damn. Ashe? So we got to be mindful of where we sending them to. What's crack-a-lacking? Ashe, I think I have a visitor. Right? Family gatherings are like auction yards for breeder parasites. Yes, that part right there. Let me say that again for those in the back and in overflow. Family gatherings are like auction yards for breeder parasites. It is a feeding frenzy. Be mindful. This is why I don't do any of these family gatherings anymore. I don't do the Thanksgivings and the this and the that. Now it's to the point where I'm not even doing birthday parties, and I'm not gonna be able to do weddings. Like, no. Funerals, no. Like, spirit gotta move me to go, and it gotta move me in a particular way. I have to be instructed. I need instructions because it's a feeding frenzy, and it is a breeding ground for the breeder parasites to entangle further into you and your children. Right? Thanks for the reminder that children come with their own wounds. Yes, they do. We come with our own. Remember, we all come through the channel, and we come with our past life ish. We got our own ish. That's why we got to be mindful of what we take on. We got our own ish, and it's in the database system. So as soon as we come through, them parasites out here waiting on you. Like, come on, let's get them. Let's pounce on these wounds before they even get to recognize it's a wound. Let's get the parents involved and engaged. So they got their own wounds. They got the parents' wounds. Right? So we got a lot to work on. It's just like multi-dimensional existence. Like, we come here in this lifetime and we pick up new karma on top of past life karma. There's things we got to work out. We're lifting the layers, and we have to constantly be lifting them. So we don't need this parasitic entanglement. We need to address it expeditiously, quicken ourselves to it. So I'm giving this to you so we can look at when we hear how things are fighting against us. Before I go, let me say this. One of the things that I was hearing, and I think it was on a TikTok live, and the lady was really, it was true. She was really talking about how an entity or whatever is coming after you, certain people. And what I wanted to highlight was it be your own family members. So keep that in mind. They don't got to be witches and warlocks, and it don't got to be somebody working voodoo literally on you. It is the parasitic entanglement that desperately wants to cling to the demonic engagement, energetic cult. It's a cult. And it's that cult and the keepers of the cult, those secret keepers. So if you're keeping secrets, start exposing the secrets. That's one of the things you can do. Expose them, tell them, talk to your children about them, because if not, those secrets are part of the things that are carried down. That's the parasite moving through the secret. Secret spaces are demonic places. So work through the secrets, work through your unhealed wound, process all unhealed wounds, go and find them, go and exhume them up from the graves that you think you buried them in. Pull it up and speak on it. Speak on it to your children, speak on it to a family member, get it out and speak on it and expose it to the light. Drag that shadow into the light. That's how we expose these parasites. They're like vampires. Drag them in the light and let them be blown up in the flames of truth and light. Ashe? Absolute truth. That's right. Top. So I shared, see, and the wind just picked up. I ain't making this up. This is very high frequency. Not everybody could find me on this frequency, especially on the Tick of the Talk, because y'all know I don't have them 1,000 members. So keep sharing the light, share it. We almost getting there. We almost to 800, so we'll be able to be there. Right now we gotta hustle the hearts. I gotta hustle the likes, hustle the hearts, just for you to find it. Right? Thank you for sharing your gifts. You're welcome, Alvin. I'm saying album, like this is an album. Thank you, Alvin Williams. Al, you might be family, right? So thank you for joining. Bud, or it's Buddha. I think it's a Buddha Kent. Right? So thank you, Chosen Girl. Much gratitude, Chosen Girl. Email me, or I gotta check the email. You might have emailed me. Let me check the email first and see, because I've been meaning to catch up to see if you were able to come through to that Zoom that we had. And then I may have an update Zoom meeting. I'll let you all know if I do. We'll talk more about these parasitic engagements. Please look out for them. It's a very real, true thing that's happening. So find out where it exists in you and look around, look deep within. Don't leave no stone unturned, and continue to turn up your light and be aware, right? This is not for doom and gloom. This is not fear mongering. This is awareness, for you to be aware of what is. Ashe? So thank you for your love, your light. Thank you for being here in this live vibe. Thank you to my true live crew. That's what I said I'm gonna start calling y'all. The soul family. Right? We're gonna be creating a community. We really want people who are ready to move to that next level. Right? And also, as I speak of this, before I close, don't forget about the Ancestral Passage. The retreat to Jamaica is the next month. It's the end of April. For those who are looking to how to address these, how to clear the ancestral passage, so we can get those codes, so we can recognize what we need to recognize. This is definitely a part of that. For those of you who are wanting to expatriate, Exodus, the great Exodus, because y'all know things are changing. Things are changing very swiftly, and we're going to see a swift changes after this year, particularly this year and on out in the next 3 years to come. By 2030, things are going to be looking very different. We'll talk about that differently, but this is one of the steps. So for those who are looking to clear that bloodline, walk with us through the ancestral passage. It's very limited seating, very limited spacing, only 6 people. I may be able to extend it to 10, but for right now, it's 6 people limited spacing. So get in as soon as you can. You can email me at akilatextry@gmail.com. You can message me here if you didn't get that email. It's AKILAHTEXTRI@gmail.com. And when you message me or email me, I'll be able to send you more information on the retreat. To retreat the soul, right? We're not retreating like running away. This is to retreat the soul and the codes, the dormant codes in your bloodline. Let's get those ancestors in our bloodline to speak. The ancestors in time are the codes in our bloodline, and we are coming in alignment with that and activating that. So join us if you feel like this calls for you or to you. Feel free to join on in. Ashe, Ashe, much love. Thank you for being here. We'll see you at the retreat. Zaya, love. Can't wait, can't wait. Much love and light protection. Peace, love and light. Ashe, Ashe, our soul's delight.